Hi all, welcome to the second session of Boilchem Tutor. My topic to this session is nomenclature of amine. So whenever we want to name a class of organic compound, we can name by common way as well as the IUPAC. So last session we have discussed the topic relating the amine and its classification. So in this session we can start naming the amines by common naming system as well as the IUPAC naming system. So firstly, we can discuss the naming of amine using the common naming system. In the common naming system, our amines are named as alkyl amines. That means firstly we have to name the alkyl group attached to the nitrogen atom and then followed by the name amine. And another important point to note that if the alkyl group attached to the nitrogen atom are same, then we can give the prefix di, tri, etc. And if the alkyl group attached to the nitrogen are different, then we can arrange the alkyl group in the alphabetic order. So let us start with a simple amine, that is CH3NH2. In this compound there are only one carbon atom. That means the word root will be meth. Then we have to consider the one carbon atom containing alkene, that is methane. So if one hydrogen atom is leaving from the methane, it can be named as methyl group. And if an NH2 group is attached to that methyl group, it can be named as methyl amine. So the commonly we can name CH3NH2 as methyl amine. Next, we can consider the two carbon atom containing amine. Two carbon atom means the word root will be eth. Again, considering the alkane corresponding to it, it will be ethane. If hydrogen atom is leaving from an ethane, it will be ethyl. So, when amine is attached to this ethyl group, it can be named as ethyl amine. So, common name for CH3, CH2, NH2 is ethyl amine. So, next we can consider the three carbon atom containing amine. Three carbon atom means the word root is prop. So, it can be propylamine. But in the case of a propylamine, there are two isomers for a propylamine. How we can check? So first we have to consider CH3, CH2, CH3, that is propane. In propane, there are two CH3 group. That means, and when we look each CH3 group, it is connected to only one carbon. And this CH3 group is termed as, these two CH3 group are termed as primary carbon. But consider the CH2 group, it is connected to two CH3. That means it has a two-bonded connection. So this CH2 group are termed as secondary carbon. So hydrogen can leave from a primary carbon and an amine group can be attached. Or hydrogen atom can leave from a secondary carbon and an amine can be attached. So that is why we have to that there are two isomers for a propyl group containing amine. So if the hydrogen atom is leaving from a primary carbon, then amine is attached means it is termed as N-propyl amine. That means N-propyl amine is derived from the primary carbon atom. And if hydrogen atom is leaving from the secondary carbon and an amine group is attached means it is termed as isopropyl amine. So isopropyl amine is derived from the secondary carbon. Next we can see the 4 carbon atom containing amine, that is butyl amine. So we can check how many isomers can be possible for the butyl amine. Before that we have to go for the butane, that is C4H10. Butane have two isomers, that is N-butane as well as the isobutane. N-butane means the 4 carbon atom are arranged in a straight chain, while isobutane means 3 carbon atom are in a straight chain and with methyl group as a substituent. So considering the N-butane, again there are two types of the carbon atom. One it is primary and other is secondary. So the terminal 2 CH3 group are a primary carbon atom and middle 2 CH2 group are secondary carbon atom. So hydrogen atom can leave either from the primary carbon atom or from the secondary carbon atom and amine can be attached. So if hydrogen atom is leaving from a primary carbon and amine is attaching, then it is termed as an N-butyl amine as its common name. But if hydrogen atom is leaving from the secondary carbon and an amine is attached, then it is termed as secondary butyl amine. So again, considering the isobutane. Isobutane, it is having the structure, it is 3 carbon atom in a straight chain with methyl group as a substitute. So in the isobutane, there are 3 primary carbon and 1 tertiary carbon. The middle CH group, which is bonded to 3 methyl group. That means that CH is acting as a tertiary carbon. So hydrogen atom can leave from the primary carbon and an amine can be attached. Or hydrogen atom can leave from the tertiary carbon and an amine can be attached. So if hydrogen atom is leaving from the primary carbon and amine is attaching in an isobutane, then its common name is termed as isobutyl amine. Again, if hydrogen atom is leaving from the tertiary carbon and an amine is attached means, then it is termed as a tertiary butyl amine as its common name. Coming to the next structure, that is an aromatic ring attached to an amine, that is NH2. When an aromatic ring like benzene is attached to NH2, first we have to consider the benzene. If a hydrogen atom is leaving from a benzene, then it is named as phenyl group. So it can be named as phenylamine. But the phenylamine, we are commonly naming it as an aniline. So till now we have discussed the common name for a primary amine containing compounds. Now let us discuss the common names of a secondary amine containing compounds, that is NHCH3 whole twice. In NHCH3 whole twice, the 2 alkyl group attached to the nitrogen atom are same. So we are using the prefix di. So in case of this NHCH3 whole twice, the 2 alkyl group are methyl group. So we can name commonly as NN-dimethyl amine or simply dimethyl amine as its common name. Next, if the alkyl group attached to the nitrogen atom are different, then how can we name that secondary amine? Consider the structure NH, CH2CH3 and one side, other side it is CH3. In this case, we can name according to the alphabetic order. That is, alkyl group should be named according to the alphabetic order. Here one side is ethane and other side is methyl. So E will come first and then followed by M. So ethyl methyl amine or N-ethyl N-methyl amine as its common name. So let's see the structure. That is, in this case, one side of the nitrogen atom is a benzene ring and other side is a methyl group. So in this case, that is benzene, hydrogen atom is removing, then it is termed as a phenyl group. And other side is a methyl group. So we can name it as a methyl phenyl amine. And phenylamine is commonly termed as an aniline. So N-methyl aniline. Consider the next structure, that is 2 benzene rings are attached to the nitrogen atom. In this case, we are naming as a diphenyl. 2 phenyl group are attached to the nitrogen atom. That means diphenylamine or NN-diphenyl amine has its common name. Next, we can discuss the naming of a tertiary amine. So consider the structure NCH3 whole thrice. Here, the alkyl group attached to the nitrogen atom are same, that is 3 methyl group. So we can use the prefix tri. So the common name will be trimethyl amine, or we can write it as N-trimethyl amine as its common name. Consider the next structure. So here there are 2 ethyl group attached to the nitrogen atom and another it is the methyl group. So again we have to consider the alkyl group in the alphabetic order. So ethyl will come first, then followed by the ethyl. So we can name it as N-diethyl, then N-methyl amine as its common name, or we can tell it as simply diethyl methyl amine as its common name. Coming to the next structure, that is 2 methyl group attached to the nitrogen and other side is phenyl or a benzene ring. So we can name it as N-dimethyl aniline, because phenylamine is commonly named as an aniline. So we can name it as N-dimethyl aniline. Next we can discuss how amines are named using IUPAC naming system. In the IUPAC naming system, amines are named as alkyl amines. That is, first we have to select the longest continuous chain of the amine. Then we have to name the alkane first, alkane chain member first, and then followed by the amine. So consider the first structure, that is simple amine CH3NH2. Here CH3 means the corresponding alkane is methane. So we can name it as methylamine as its IUPAC name. Next, if we are discussing the 2 carbon atom containing amine, how we can name according to the IUPAC naming system, we can check. 2 carbon atom means it will be ethane. So it can be named as an ethanamine as its IUPAC name. Consider the 3 carbon atom containing amine. We already discussed that propane contain 2 isomers. Propane containing amine contain 2 isomers, that is in propylamine and isopropylamine, and the common name. So similarly, how N-propylamine can be named in the IUPAC naming system. So first select the longest chain, that is 3 carbon atom containing amine. So first, that is, we have to number the position of the amine that is containing carbon. That should be least number. So it can be named as 1-propanamine. And next, if we are in the isopropylamine, that is second position will be the amine. So it can be named it as 2-propanamine as its IUPAC name. It is, we have to number the position of the amine containing carbon atom, and that should have the least number. Consider the next structure, that is, it contains 4 carbon atom and an amine is attached. And amine is attached at the terminal carbon. So it should be numbered first. So it can be named it as 1-butanamine as its IUPAC name. Consider the next structure, that is, it contains again 4 carbon atom, but amine are present at the middle. So again we have to number the chain, and the amine should contain the least number. So when we are naming, can be named it as 2-butanamine. Consider next structure, that is, it contains 4 carbon atom and an amine is attached, but first we have to select the longest chain. Here in this longest chain will be a 3 carbon atom chain, and second position there is a methyl group. So we have to name it as 2-methyl 1-propanamine as its IUPAC name. Looking at the next structure, that is, in this structure also altogether there are 4 carbon atoms. But when we are selecting the longest chain, it will be 3. That is, the word root will be prop. Again, there are second position, there is a methyl group and there is an amine group. So it can be named it as 2-methyl 2-propanamine as its IUPAC name. Next structure is an aromatic ring containing amine. We usually name it as an aniline in its common name. But when we are looking at the IUPAC naming system, we can name it as a benzenamine. So aniline in its IUPAC name, it is benzenamine. See the next structure, that is a secondary amine. Secondary amine, and it contains 2 methyl group attached to the nitrogen atom. So one methyl group acting as a substituent and other methyl group as a chain. So we can name it as an N-methyl methanamine as its IUPAC name. See in this structure, there is a one ethyl group as the substituent, and the other side there is a methyl group as attached to the nitrogen atom. So ethyl group can be considered as a chain, longest continuous chain, and methyl group can be acting as a substituent. So we can name it as an N-methyl ethanamine as its IUPAC name. In the next structure, there is a methyl group attached to the nitrogen atom, and other side is a phenyl group. So we can name it as a, that is, phenylamine, that is, can be considered as a chain, and methyl as a substituent. So we can name it as an N-methyl benzenamine as its IUPAC name. Next structure, there are 2 phenyl group attached to the nitrogen atom. So one phenyl group can act as a substituent and other phenyl as a main chain. So in this compound, we can name it as an phenyl benzenamine as its IUPAC name. Next structure is a tertiary amine. It contains 3 methyl group is attached to the nitrogen atom. So 2 methyl group can act as a substituent and other methyl group can be acting as a chain. So we can name it as N-dimethyl methenamine as its IUPAC name. In the next structure, there are again 2 ethyl group and 1 methyl group. So we have to consider ethyl as the chain, because we have to select the longest chain first. So one ethyl group can be acting as a chain and rest 2, that is 1 ethyl and 1 methyl can be acting as a substituent. So we can name it as N-ethyl, then N-methyl, then ethanamine. So we have to name according to the alphabetic order also. So N-methyl, ethanamine as its IUPAC name. So coming to the last structure, it contains 2 methyl group and 1 phenyl group as a substituent, and we have to consider the phenyl ring as the chain and 2 methyl group as the substituent. So we can name it as N-dimethyl, then benzenamine as its IUPAC name. So when we are naming an amine using the IUPAC naming system, we have to note following points. One, it is selecting the longest continuous chain. Then amine containing carbon should have the lowest number while numbering, and we are naming it as an alkyl amines. So I hope you understood this way how to name an amine containing organic compound. So in the next video I will be discussing the preparations of an amine, and stay tuned for the next video. Till then, bye.